This is 5.5 day 2, focusing on the half angle formulas. These set of 3 formulas are on your gold sheet, so if you want to write them down, you can put them in your notes. Just leave some space, or we can just go ahead and move on to the first example. So leave yourself some space. These are the formulas we're going to work with today in our lesson, the half angle formulas. All right, the first example. We're going to go again back into right triangle trig and circular trig to evaluate exact values. And using these formulas that are on the box here. So here's a right triangle. It's a popular 3, 4, 5 right triangle. It has a side 3, a side 4, and then the hypotenuse is 5. If you wanted to find out exactly that was 5, you would just use Pythagorean theorem. I'm going to skip that step. We've done a lot of Pythagorean theorem already. And what we're going to do is we're going to find the exact value of the half angle for x, for cosine, sine, tangent, and cosecant. Before you begin using your formulas, find out what is the exact value of the cosine of x and the sine of x. The reason why is in the formula sheet, you have to substitute in what is the cosine of x or the sine of x. You'll see that in the formula sheet over here. So from right triangle trigonometry, what would you say the cosine of this triangle is? How do you find the cosine of this triangle? Ignoring the half angle stuff. What do? 4 over 5. How do you know it's 4 over 5? SOHCAHTOA, opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent are the sides we work with. So if it is cosine of x is adjacent over the hypotenuse. So 4 over 5. So that's what we did earlier in chapter 5. So then how do you find the sine of x? 3 over 5. That is the opposite over the hypotenuse. So that is just regular trig. Cosine of x equals 4/5, sine of x equals 3/5. Now we're going to go ahead and evaluate the exact value for half of that angle for x. So the cosine of x over 2 is the first one we'll solve for. So on my formula sheet here in the box, which one of these 3 am I going to choose? The second one, correct. So I want to say the cosine of x over 2. So we're going to square root. We don't have to worry about the plus or minus because we're not talking circular trig. We're working with the right triangle, so we have positive values. And it's 1 plus the cosine of x over 2. That's the formula we're going to use. Do we know what the cosine of x is in this right triangle? Yep, 4 over 5. So now we can go ahead and substitute in what is the cosine of x. It is 4 over 5. Now, a lot of the rest of this example, like yesterday, is reducing, with lots of fractions, lots of radicals going on again. So after we evaluate it, we simplify. So how do we simplify that numerator, the 1 plus the 4/5? How do we combine this piece together, 1 plus 4/5? Change that 1 to 5/5. And if you get better at your fractions, you don't have to write this 5/5. You can just go ahead and straight into 5/5 plus 4/5 is 9/5. Now we're going to simplify underneath that radical. 9/5 divided by 2. How do you simplify 9/5 divided by 2? Yep, multiply by the denominator's reciprocal. So now I have 9/5. Reciprocal of 2 is 1 over 2. Now we have a fraction times a fraction, so we multiply across. 9 times 1 is 9. 5 times 2 is 10. Now we have a radical with a fraction. We can split up that radical into two radicals. Square root of 9 over square root of 10. One of those is a perfect, the numerator. Square root of 9 is 3. Do we leave our answer with 3 over the square root of 10? No, we have to rationalize it. So to rationalize it, we multiply the numerator and the denominator by square root of 10. So now we multiply across. 3 squares of 10 over 10. And there is our final answer as an exact value. Next one, sine of x over 2. We're going to do the same thing again, but now where is our formula? Off to the right here in the box. The first, second, or third? The first one.
Taking notes.
Yep. So now we're 1 minus the cosine of x over 2. Same thing, the cosine of x we found earlier is 4/5. So now 1 minus 4/5 is 5/5 minus 4/5 is 1/5.
Is this continued notes? Or no?
5, day 2 is the notes. Now we have a fraction divided by a fraction. So we're going to reciprocate that 2 and change it to multiplication. The reciprocal of 2 again is 1 over 2. Multiply across. One times 1 is 1, 5 times 2 is 10. Split it up again, and then rationalize it. Square root of 1 is 1. Square root of 10 still has to stay a square root of 10. Now rationalize it. Our final answer is square root of 10 over 10. All right, cosecant of 2x. Where is that in the formula box? It's not. So think back to yesterday when we did double angles. What did we do with the reciprocals? Is we reciprocated within the double angles. So this has half angles. So what is the reciprocal of cosecant? 1 over sine. So did we just find the reciprocal function? Yep. So what do we have to do with that blue box? Just reciprocate it. So it's 1 over the sine of x over 2. One over that blue box. 1 over a fraction is just the reciprocal. So 10 over the square root of 10. Now rationalize it again. Multiply across. 10 square roots of 10 over 10. And what happens to my 10s? They cancel. So there's our final answer there. One left, the tangent of x over 2. And then I'll stop the recording. Which of the formulas am I going to use now? From right here, this formula. The square root of 10 over 10, we reciprocate that one. It's the reciprocal of the sine function. Yeah, these things in the box are the formulas. From the half angle formulas. So now we're going to use either this formula or the one to the right. I'm just going to choose the first one for this half angle. So now we go 1 minus the cosine of x over the sine of x. 1 minus the cosine of x over the sine of x. And we know those exact values already. Yes?
Does it matter which one?
No, it won't matter. You can choose the first one or the second one. Your choice. So 1 minus the cosine. Cosine we said was 4/5. And what was the sine of x in that triangle? 3/5. And now we simplify this. So 5/5 minus 4/5 over 3/5. Again, you see lots of fractions. So 5/5 minus 4/5 is 1/5 over 3/5. Fraction divided by fraction. Change it to multiplication and reciprocate. Now what cancels? The 5s. So our exact value for the half angle of this triangle for the tangent is 1/3.